Hey guys, it's Jenna. In today's video, we're going to be going over the new mini bronze palette from Natasha Denona. Now, this is not a review video yet. This is just our preliminary thoughts on it and sort of what we're going to be maybe expecting from the palette. And I've also asked you guys on Instagram your thoughts on it, so I will be picking it up as soon as it launches. It does launch on the 18th on Sephora's app, and you can also pre-order it on Natasha Denona's website already. It's going to be available to the public on July 19th as well, if you happen to miss it on the app on the 18th. So this is really exciting. There's interesting mixed feedback with this new mini palette. So let's talk about it. The mini palette from Natasha Denona is her summer mini that she's coming out with this summer. And it's basically the extension of this palette. This is the Natasha Denona Bronze palette. This is actually a midi, so there's quite a few different sizes of Natasha's palettes. And this one is kind of like her mid-range, like more affordable, still a lot of shades that you can pick from, but it's not a mini. So it's not like her gigantic ones with larger pans, bigger palettes overall. This is like the perfect medium ground. And a lot of us have been really thrilled with this type of size because it does have enough variety, yet it's not like super crazy large and super crazy expensive for Natasha Denona. Now, I think people are sort of a little bit disappointed with the bronze midi palette because the only thing that I can think of, like consequentially, that's like negative about this is the repetitiveness. There's lots of people that say there's not a ton of variety here when it comes to looks. The colors are too close together, the shimmers are too close together, and that's sort of the feedback if you're not a fan of it. If you're a fan of it, I mean, it doesn't bother you much, right? So this is actually one of my favorite summer palettes. I pull this one a ton during the summer because it's got those really gorgeous, like sunset smoky, like bronzy looks. I'm actually wearing this palette today. I looked at Natasha's website to kind of get some information on this palette. Initially, my first question was, is this one going to just be 5 mini shades from this palette? Is it going to be pulled from the palette so there's no new shades at all? But apparently, according to Natasha Denona's website, looking at this actually is new. So this is the mini bronze eyeshadow palette. There are 5 new shades. It says it's inspired by the best-selling midi palette, which is what I just talked about, and it's a shade extension. It brings together 5 warm-toned neutrals in creamy matte or metallic finishes, perfect for summer transitioning into fall. Each of these are innovative, easy-to-use formulas, which, if they are her formulation that we're used to, the creamy mattes are super, super lovely, as are the metallics. Now it says it offers high performance and versatility that Natasha's known for. She is known for very pigment forward formulations, I would say. We're not talking about softer hues here. We're talking about a lot of pigment, a lot of impact, and I think a lot of us have come to expect that from her, which makes sense. I know I do. From a smoky bronze eye to a subtle wash of summer shimmer, this travel-sized palette easily takes your look from day to night. She also claims it's beautiful on all skin tones. The first shade in this palette is a matte. It's called Russet. This is a matte, warm, dark brown. Looking at the palette itself, this one here looks a little bit deeper, almost like a deeper shade that could have been actually in this original midi palette. It actually would have offered a little bit more depth. I think this is why, like, because of the redundancy of the midi palette, there's lots of missing factors according to some folks, and some folks say there's not a ton of depth to it. Really, you can kind of go here with some depth, a little bit with the brown, but it doesn't have like deeper shades like some other palettes do. So this one is anchored really nicely with a dark brown. We also see a beige kind of color. This is the next matte. This one's called Flesh. It's a matte beige nude. Then we also have the next shade, which is it's called Gobi. Okay. All right, hopefully I said that right. This is the medium tangerine brown. Then we have the only shimmer in this palette, which is the only one metallic. We're going to talk about that in a second. This is Bronze Foil, which is also a new shade. It's a metallic coppery bronze. The last matte is a warm medium terracotta, and this one's called Tough. I think when I was kind of polling you guys, a lot of the feedback was there's not enough shimmers in here. I agree. I actually do. I feel like she could have gone 2 ways with this. It's like there's not really a ton of mattes in the bronze palette, so that was also like besides the redundancy and besides like there's not really a ton of depth, right? A lot of people were like, there's way too many shimmers in here. So in MIDI, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 out of 15. I'm a shimmer girl. I actually don't mind that. It's like one of the reasons why I love it. That's okay though. There's some people that really wanted that matte balance. So I can see her taking a little bit of that feedback and putting more mattes in the mini. However, if you really want more of that bronze palette experience, she probably could have afforded to put at least one more shimmer in here so that it would have been 3 shades matte and then 2 shimmers. I think that would have been really, really nice. I actually agree with you guys. Instead, what it looks like is there's a matte dominance, which is 4 out of 5. And it's a creamy matte, so it's not like a dry matte formula or anything, but I do kind of agree with you. There could have been one more shimmer in there, but I'm also a shimmer girl, so I'm kind of biased there. This is made in Italy, just like the rest of her palettes, which is a really good sign. Sometimes when brands like try different manufacturing places elsewhere, it's not indicative of the country that they're at, because every country has amazing facilities. What is the issue is the facility itself. And if they do mix up some stuff, then sometimes you can have quality issues. But this is still maintained. It seems like we can just assume that she's using the same lab that she normally uses. When it comes to the exterior color story of this, it does look like a little bit of an extension. And I think because she did that extension piece, she did put a little bit more mattes because there's not a ton in here. This palette could be catering in that way to those of us that have the MIDI already, because we do have much more shimmer in here. Holy crap, I just had something in my eye. I had to stop filming. It's like a thread or something and it was poking. Okay, we're good. So I'm not crying, it's just a little teary from that. But as I was saying, I feel like she really did sort of own the extension piece by putting more mattes in the mini. I do agree that there should be more shimmer, like maybe one more, but to extend this palette also assumes that you have this one, and therefore you can put the two together and offer even more looks. This is going to be an interesting one to review. I will share with you guys some of the stuff that has come in when I polled you. So I polled you on Instagram and I said, what do we think of the mini bronze palette? Literally, first person, looks gorgeous. Another girl, yawn, not for me, no. Kind of boring. Unless you're new to Natasha Denona, it's inexpensive and good for travel. That is true. The midi palette is more money. There's obviously more shades as well. It's a larger palette, but the minis are perfect for travel. A couple people saying waiting for your review, which I will for sure do. Where is Big Retro? She hinted a few months ago. That's the question. Thank you. I actually love this one because I'm really excited for Big Retro. Retro Mini is such a beautiful mini palette. I'm looking for that one myself. I agree. With these, it's like want, love it, not enough shimmer, no, boring, meh, easy pass, needs more shimmers, meh. So we kind of have meh as like kind of indifferent as a big kind of overall feeling from you guys. Looks similar to Mini Nude, but less versatile because there's only one shimmer. Also a really good thought. I feel like Mini Nude, you're right. Let's pull out Mini Nude. This is the Mini Nude palette from Natasha Denona. Looking at the shades, we don't have any duplicates here. There are 3 shimmers, 2 mattes. My favorite combination from a mini, 100%. I really love this because I'm a shimmer person, but even if you have 3 mattes, 2 shimmers, amazing. I agree. This is going to be a really good one to compare it to, and I'm going to be 100% picking up mini bronze for you guys, especially to make sure that it's actually quality control. It's actually the best formulation that Natasha has to offer. The minis, sometimes, for whatever reason, I get a little bit of a drier experience sometimes with some of her formulas, so I'll double check that for sure. I mean, I think it's going to be not as warm tone as bronze, but it's close. So that's a really good observation there. Looking at the rest of the comments, we have boring again, meh, lots of sleepy like yawn emojis or like boring type emojis. This one says pretty, but not for me. I own all midis except bronze, just not drawn to it, ergo not drawn to this mini. Makes sense. If you are not drawn to the midi palette, you might not be persuaded by the mini. This one says, I really don't know, pretty but not unique. I agree. It's kind of tough in this industry to have a brand new, unique palette sometimes. I feel like we've got so many things that have already been done, and yet these brands seem to entice me enough to want to buy something else. Right? Even though some of these shades have like a fraction of a difference in undertone, or, you know, maybe the texture is a little bit different or something, but that's just because I'm a fan of makeup and it brings me joy, right? But I agree, the uniqueness is a little bit not quite there, but it also is supposed to be an extension of bronze. So I sort of understand both scenarios there. Too much orange tones, not exciting. That's also something that people were saying about bronze midi. So if that's not really for you, right, then that's totally okay. I mean, a lot of these do pull sort of orangey, right? Kind of staying on theme, I can understand why the mini would be more orangey as well, but I'm definitely curious how this is going to perform compared to this one, which is actually a favorite of mine. Yes, there's a bit of redundancy in bronze. It doesn't have the most versatility in the world. It's still a fan of mine, so I'm curious how the mini is going to perform. I really hope that quality-wise, it isn't disappointing, so that if you're wanting more of a matte palette, something more travel friendly, then maybe the mini could be a great option. Don't forget to subscribe for more high-end and luxury reviews. I really hope this was helpful, and we will chat soon. Bye guys!